At the beginning of the video, we are shown a woman looking at a deer doll in the surroundings, which are already destroyed. She cries and sings because she feels late coming here. Amazingly, this girl's singing can make the weather clear like pong rain. Nizrara, and the damaged buildings there are becoming more visible. It turns out this girl's name is Feria Barcelos, and her new assistant is named Ellen because there are no survivors in this area anymore. So the two of them will continue their journey to the next place by train. And on the way, Ellen tells Feria that ahead there is a village called Ule, which is already seen burning. It can also be seen that there is chaos in this village. It looks very messy, and there is a child in distress in that village. On the other hand, many other villagers have died because they were eaten by a mysterious creature named Pieces Peria. Seeing this, she swears that she will save more people because she had previously failed due to coming late. It turns out that the people who were eaten turned into terrifying physical creatures instantly. The child who was in trouble earlier went to another place to save himself from the monster siege. Almost all places have been taken over by these monsters. Then she goes to the station to save herself, but the monsters start coming there and the child is surrounded by the monsters. When he's almost resigned to his fate, a man comes and confidently tells Ellen that he will do as usual as a 7-night fighter. Then Feria here managed to save the child from the monster siege. On the other hand, Feria here has great power. She is able to defeat some monsters with her lightning magic power. Because there are too many, so she has no choice but to use the succession card, and finally, she changes into something really cool. Wow, that change is called Transit, and Feria here becomes stronger so she can fight all the monsters here. It turns out that the child Feria saved is named Nemo, a prospective student at Grand Academy. Feria feels grateful to save one person even though it's only Nemo. Then they go by train to go to the Migration Academy. But here they are served coffee and snacks while chatting. Why did Feria save him even though she got hurt here? Vario said that more than 5 cities have been swallowed by darkness and he couldn't do much, but in the end he was grateful to be able to save Nemo just in time. Here we are told a little about the origin of the monster pieces attacking humans, where it all started when the evil god named Nestra wanted the destruction of the world. Until now, there are many cults worshipping the evil god to keep destroying the world, but there are also heroes sent by the goddess to defeat them, plus the academy students who serve as world protectors. Currently, they are the successors of the past hero's power. Nemo gives a reason why he applied because someone said he had the potential to become a hero. Then Feria here encourages Nemo, who might be the strongest among the other students. On the other side, there are business monsters rising and getting ready to attack the train ridden by Feria and Nemo after the train flips due to Feria's physical attack. Here, Feria is injured while protecting Nemo. However, as the leader of 7, Feria remains strong and willing to risk his life to protect someone. Although Feria is injured, he can fight quite well against Size, but these business monsters can regenerate quickly and grow stronger after being slashed. Nemo, here, starts to be targeted by these monsters. Feria, not wanting to be a victim, is forced to use his power to create a protective barrier. The business monsters can't penetrate the shield made by Feria. From here, Feria instructs Nemo to escape with Ellen to the next station, which is a mile away. But Nemo doesn't want to leave Feria alone, yet Feria says the best thing is to save as many people as possible. Feria here is determined to die. Since entering Garancid Academy, hearing that, Nemo certainly doesn't want that to happen. Suddenly, Nemo gets a card that can connect him to the subconscious where Dewey Saras is. Here, Nemo asks Dewey Saras to give him the power to save Feria, but the price to be paid must be commensurate with the desired power by Nemo without hesitation. Here, Nemo is ready to give his life in exchange for that power. Hearing this request, Dewey Saras gives Nemo the desired power and inherits a power from one of the heroes. When the barrier breaks, Feria is saved by Nemo, who has gained his hero's power. Feria, whose hero's name is Eunomia, says that what Nemo inherited is one of his acquaintance's heroes. Though not perfect yet, Nemo fights well enough to even fetch Feria's weapon near the monster. Here, Caria also sees the power of succession like Nemo, but with this, they can finally fight and battle as fellow Grand Sheets. Nemo is also guided by Feria and his hero to fight, and finally they manage to defeat the monster with a deadly combo. This time, Feria feels saved by Nemo, so finally they thank each other. Arriving at Garancid Academy, there is a woman named Mile watching from the window. Ellen reports about her damaged train. Although the train is valuable, Feria's words are very meaningful, where human life is more important and valuable than anything else. It is also known that Feria is the head of the student council in this academy. On the other side, there is a man pushing a cart with a frozen peace monster called Minata on top of it. It turns out this monster is brought for research. This man is named Joe Storogi, one of the 7 Night members and also a member of the student council who has the power of a hero as cold as ice named Spike. Then Feria arranges a meeting with the 7 Night members. The others introduce Nemo to them, where Nemo would be the last member of the 7 Night, although some agreed and some followed the lead of their leader, but there were members who disagreed because he was a new student with no experience at all. Furthermore, the 7 members had to be cleansed by the greatest heroes who could protect the world at present. As the chairman understood that their presence was still uncertain about Nemo, but Feria believed in her hero, Eunomia, that the hero within Nemo could be trusted. And after being told that Nemo could make a contract in his first action, everyone was surprised, but also here they did not know the name of his hero because this was the first time he met. Hearing Feria's explanation, finally, everyone agreed and was asked to guide Nemo around the academy. After being praised and admired by the chairman for initially refusing the order, although while wandering, Joe remained disapproving. But finally, he explained that he wanted to become stronger like the previous heroes so he could protect people even though his life was at stake. But because Nemo was too pessimistic here, Joe was angry because as a new member of the 7 Knight, Nemo should be more mature. When Nemo said that protectors would die along with the enemy, then there would be no one left to protect society. The point here is that cinema wants to say that heroes should not die in battlefields. But Joe's anger was stopped by Mrs. Milf, who we saw at the beginning of school. This teacher was named Shopia, who served as a librarian at the academy. She heard rumors about Nemo, who managed to contract with a hero in one battle, so Sensei Shopia here was interested in him. This was a rare event because Nemo could be guided by a destiny, not by hard work first before getting a contract. Again praised by Soviet to the laboratory because he was happy to be praised by Sensei Shopia. Finally, Joe continued to tour the academy with Nemo after finishing the tour. Here Joe returned to training because he felt annoyed by Nemo's words earlier. On the other hand, when Nemo returned, he was welcomed by Feria and Ellen, who said that she hoped more from Nemo, who succeeded in making a contract outside the academy library even though Nemo was still doubtful. But he would still try to do better. Nemo also felt awkward because in the OSIS dormitory, there were only the 3 of them now. Then in the lesson, the teacher taught about the past of the heroes called the 7 Knight, where they had the greatest service to face the evil god who wanted destruction in this world. After the learning ended, Nemo met Gareth, who was another member of the 7 Knight, and he asked for Nemo's help to bring a document or potion to the alchemy lab because he felt uncomfortable going there. Nemo accepted the offer, and when he arrived there, Nemo gave the potion from Gareth to a student, who coincidentally also met Joe in the chemistry lab. But unbeknownst to them, the business monster that Zoo caught yesterday seemed to have escaped and caused a commotion. Joe immediately took action and managed to attack the monster because Sensei was in danger. Then Joe also instructed Nemo and the others to go to a safe place so he could fight freely, but the monster seemed to grow stronger because of its regenerative business power. Joe faced increasing difficulties here, but Nemo came and said that Joe should leave too. But he couldn't do that because the city would be in danger if he couldn't handle this creature. Nemo's thinking here was quite naive, but he eventually joined the fight to hold back the monster with Joe, and their teamwork wasn't too bad as they managed to freeze the monster and slowly wanted Nemo to stay away here because he could freeze too. But Nemo received a whisper from his hero, telling him that Nemo had to end this because the monster would keep moving even though its life had no life left. Nemo's demeanor changed a bit here, if you get me, guys. After the core of the monster was visible, Jody's immediately ended this battle. Shopi was a bit surprised here and said they had saved everyone here. Then Joe talked a little about his past where his father died protecting many people, including himself, so he wanted to become stronger and be like his father. Here it seems that Nemo has accepted Nemo, who is no longer afraid of danger and continues to fight. After this commotion ends, Feria and the others come to see the situation. The members of the 7 Knight hold a meeting about the increasingly strong PCS monsters to this day where they have destroyed 3 cities without a trace. Nevertheless, Feria here believes that the Knights at the Migration Academy will be able to defeat and save more people. After the meeting ends, Chairwoman Feria here has prepared home-cooked food for everyone. However, it seems that everyone doesn't really want to eat it. At first, I thought it would be weird food, but it turns out everyone doesn't want to eat food from Feria because they might have given this food too often, so they feel bored. On the other hand, Nemo, a new student, really likes Feria's croquette food. After that, Nemo was approached by a sex teacher who praised Nemo for yesterday's fight with Joe. Besides that, she also hoped for Nemo and the other 7 Knight members to be able to save everyone. The other models gathered on the terrace to discuss Nemo, who was brave and had been recognized for his strength. Here, another 7 Knight member named Gildan had to fight harder for the sake of his family and Nemo's siblings. Nemo dreamed of his hero in a burning library, but he eventually woke up again. Called by Feria, who was already prepared as she had received a call for help to the floating island of Yurtbal, where there was a group of flying monsters that could not be handled by the local army. So finally they asked for help from the academigration, and it had been a long time since all 7 members gathered to carry out a mission here. Gildan still seemed unsure of himself. The monsters here targeted the silver hourglass, and shortly after that the 7 members descended from the sky and changed using their succession. Peria reacted first here and successfully defeated some pieces of power from the other 7 Knight members were not less great, and they could easily fight against the Pisces. Gildan here was a little careless because he forced himself, But finally, he was saved by Nemo and his business monster was successfully overcome by the duo of Nemo and Joe who, like before, the warlocks or locals were very happy and amazed by the strength of the male heroes. Here gave a report to their superiors about their mission this time, which concerns business lately, always targeting the hourglass. His boss said they would investigate it and they also said to keep an eye on Nemo. Feria here complained because giving reports like this was always unavoidable and she still had other reports to do. After this, Nemo and Joe here talked about Gildan's previous problems, where Joe felt a little sorry for saying that Gildan seemed to be a burden. But he didn't mean it like that. On the other hand, Gildan had been treated by Shopia-sensei. But because of the previous incident, he also felt that he was a burden. And finally, here Gildan practiced regardless of his newly healed wounds until something strange happened to Gildan's body far away, here explaining even though he is a prince from a country, but suddenly there was an explosion that surprised Nemo and Joe on the side. Elsewhere, Feria also got news from Shirley that something strange happened to Gildan. Then Joe, Gareth, and Nemo found that Gildan had become a possession, where it could happen because the power flowing to be able to use the hero's power is irregular and erratic, which can result like this. Joe wants to end this even though it feels heavy, but Nemo stops the line and, far from killing Gildan who is in pain after being attacked, here Nemo finds an idea to try. Then, after being bound by his power, Joe tries to freeze the Gerald but fails. Consciousness kill, and here again he ordered his friend to immediately kill him, but Nemo here instead issued no jutsu words to be able to awaken Gildan from this situation. Helped by Gildan's fiery hero, his spark rekindled, Gildan finally had the determination to live, and they forcibly pulled Gildan from his monster body based on what Gildan commanded other students to be excited because there was a bright light behind the building. Finally, Gildan was rescued by Nemo and the others because he was exhausted. Here, Nemo fainted and woke up. Instead, he received a blessing from Feria, and it turned out he was okay. Here, Nemo was scolded a little by Feria because he was pushing himself too hard, if something had happened, but instead of listening carefully, Nemo was caught up in thoughts of the two mountains that had almost crushed him earlier, causing him to daydream. On the other side, Gildan was accompanied by two guys who made him feel suffocated. He also felt jealous of Nemo, who was getting attention from the leader, and then Gareth asked if Gildan didn't remember anything when the incident happened. Gildan confirmed that he didn't remember anything when he was in that position, but here, Gareth was just curious if the position happened quite frequently, so he wondered why someone like Gil could be affected like that. He suspected someone influenced Gil to change into that position. Nemo intended to leave because he was already feeling better, but Feria told Nemo to rest more because he had just recovered, and what's more surprising, Feria would continue to stay in Nemo's room until Nemo fully recovered. Yeah, right, both a man and a woman in the same room, a stagfarola. Feria here was busy cooking because his pan burned, which could be heard in Gildan's room because he couldn't cook anymore. So he ended up making croquettes, the only food he could cook here. Nemo was surprised that Feria had a pet cat that was very close to her. But it seemed the cat didn't like Nemo. Then Feria took care of Nemo with excessive affection, but because she was tired, she finally rested. Not even a minute passed when Ellen came in and said that Feria had other work to do. It could be seen that Feria here lacked sleep and was tired, but she still forced herself to do everything. Here, a little story about Feria who inherited power from the Unimiya hero. Besides, Feria also felt responsible for Nemo, so she couldn't just ignore Nemo. At Maria Academy, she felt regretful because she couldn't save the village where Nemo lived at that time, but Nemo thought maybe Feria saw him as a burden. Nemo's friends also visited him. Their jokes now made Nemo feel calmer. Even Sensei Shopia visited to check on Nemo's condition, making Joe worried. Here, Gareth hoped Nemo would recover quickly because they needed his strength in the 7th night. They even played cards for fun, but Gildan always lost here 3 times in a row. But he said he still couldn't even know the name of his hero until now. Besides, he also couldn't chat with the hero as usual for someone who already had a contract. With their hero far away, they suggest asking Shopia-sensei, who is more knowledgeable about it. Nemo will think about it, and the commotion in Nemo's room is stopped by Shirley's arrival, who scolds them and warns that 7 Night can't relax now because the situation is becoming more serious. Because of this, Feria, the leader, also feels a bit guilty because it was her suggestion. On the other hand, Shirley overhears about Nemo's inability to communicate with their hero. However, she is also happy because she has some secrets of her own. Then, when Nemo and Feria walk down the hallway, they come across a stray male cat, worrying about the artwork because pets are not allowed in the dormitory. Finally, they chase the cat, but unfortunately, they encounter Shirley, known for her strict adherence to rules, along with her assistant. Luckily, they manage to avoid awkward questions and go search for the cat again. When night falls, the cat is in danger and Nemo jumps from the roof. Although Feria tries to save them, they both fall, but luckily Nemo's hero manages to save them, and the cat becomes closer to Nemo for saving it. Feria's hero warns them that a great storm is coming, so Feria needs to be prepared. Nemo decides to go to the library out of curiosity about their hero. However, after searching, they find that the hero blessing Nemo isn't in any history books, and even Shopia-sensei has never heard of the characteristics mentioned by Nemo. Because it's late, the search for this hero will continue another time. Next, there's a case where the discipline committee members are always being attacked, and the culprit hasn't been found. There are also vampire bite marks on the victims' bodies. Shirley, who is the head of the discipline committee, feels responsible for her members being constantly targeted. But she's already working too much, so her subordinates protest for her to take a rest, even though the victims have been hidden by Ellen. However, she doesn't know when the victims will wake up. With a shortage of discipline committee members, Nemo volunteers to help as a fellow 7-night member. The assistant of the discipline committee is named Mina, and Nemo remembers her from a chance encounter in the library yesterday. Mina is very happy that someone is helping with the case, especially since many discipline committee members have fallen. She hopes for more from Nemo. Shirley also relies on Nemo for this case, although she suspects Nemo is hiding something. As long as Nemo continues to help people in distress, it's enough for her. Nemo gathers information from clients who are still infatuated with Gareth Senpai. A player explains that vampires aren't monsters, they're essentially like humans and other races, but sometimes they drink blood for their food, but that doesn't mean they're evil. It's evil because on average vampires are good, but sometimes they're viewed poorly because they can also turn people into vampires if they want by biting them. After that, the interest comes accidentally. And finally, Nemo and Mina went home together while discussing this case. After that, there was a rumor that Shirley was a vampire, which made Mina sad. From here, Nemo knew that Mina really liked the committee chair. Then Mina invited Nemo to investigate the forest first because there's a place she hasn't checked yet. But what they found was Chair Shirley sucking Ellen's blood, maybe out of panic or whatever. Mina stepped on a branch here, so Shirley and Ellen knew of their presence, but instead of fighting, she ran away after seeing Nemo and Mina. Nemo, who saw that, of course wanted to chase her because he believed in Shirley, even though Minus tried to stop him. Nemo still went. You can guess if Minus' goodness all this time looked fake or seemed timely. So she showed her true face when Nemo still went after Shirley. After successfully catching up, Shirley got advice from her hero to deal with this issue and stop avoiding. Memo asked if Shirley was the perpetrator of this case, but Shirley, feeling it was useless to explain that she wasn't the culprit, decided to fight Nemo. But in this fight, Nemo didn't counterattack and just defended. It turns out Shirley had a bad experience when she was a child where her family was killed by humans who thought they were monsters, even though Shirley's family were just vampires and never did anything evil to humans. Shirley, who lived alone, wandered around looking for a place to live, but was always avoided and attacked when they found out she was a vampire. So besides hiding that fact, there was a lecture here that Shirley just had to face this problem and not run away. And Nemo still didn't know that this was all Mina's plan. They entered a church because they saw Ellen being taken here physically. Mina came while showing her fangs, and it turns out she was a subordinate of the physicist here at the academy. Surprised because Mina was the mastermind of all this and also a subordinate of the pieces. The goal of the evil god and his followers is to reset the world. They can do this as long as the 7 knights are eradicated from this earth because no one besides the 7 can fight them. Mina here persuaded Shirley to join in destroying the world, but Shirley naturally refused that invitation. Hearing that response, Mina immediately attacked Nemo and Shirley easily, but Nemo didn't want to give up so easily to save Shirley even though it's tough. Even though the battle was heavily one-sided, with Mina dominating thanks to her physical strength, Shirley also fought back using her fire power, which is a weakness of vampires. However, Mina continued to regenerate rapidly. Meanwhile, Nemo had a way to end this and asked Shirley to hold on a bit longer. Here, Mina started attacking Nemo to thwart his plans. But after Mina was held back by Shirley's fire power, Nemo, who had already dealt with Pisces, immediately unleashed his new weapon from his hero power, and Mina, unable to dodge the attack, finally vanished into dust. Although they won, Nemo and Shirley felt sad for losing their friend. Despite her betrayal, emotions healed them after the fight, and Nemo received a small bonus from the series. Then, they received information about an old library where many books were lost due to a fire. The head librarian, named Genius, had become a double agent for Isis. The one who defeated Genius was Feria's ancestor, Yonomiya. It's said that the curse of Genius continues to haunt the school. Born here, Feria was happy to help find old library documents for Gareth. However, Gareth's interest seemed low, so she didn't hesitate to leave after thanking him. Currently, many students are preparing to welcome the upcoming festival. Faria and Nemo visited a place and were helped by a player who opened a door with magic. Here, Clear talked a bit about his first meeting with Gareth, who saved him from danger. Since then, Clear admired and started liking him. Nemo didn't understand the meaning of love, but after hearing about it from the player, which might have caused a misunderstanding with Feria, Clear wanted to dance with Gareth. However, he lacked the courage. Nemo suggested he should go ahead, as Clear might not always get the same chance, especially since warriors could die anytime they fought. After some quotes, Clear finally tried to ask Garrett to dance, but he was also curious about Feria, wondering who would be her dance partner. In the end, Feria and Nemo exchanged glances with a resigned face. Next, Nemo, Joe, and others discussed their dance partners for the festival. Joe wanted to dance with Shopeed Essence, while Gildan, though undecided, had received many invitations from women. Gildan asked about Nemo and the chairman, as they had been quite close lately, even taking care of Nemo until he recovered. Unexpectedly, Shirley, known for her cold demeanor, invited Nemo to dance. Therefore, this made Joe and Gildan surprised and curious about what had happened between Nemo and Shirley, the members of Seven Night here. While discussing about the performance or what to do for the upcoming festival, Gareth seems uninterested in this, so he doesn't want to attend this meeting because he thinks they are too relaxed when the PC is busy roaming around. But the goal of Seven to participate in this festival is to set a good example for other students so they can be looked upon favorably. Gildan and Joe suggest proposals for the festival about fights or setting up a mid-cafe bar, but Shirley disagrees. The meeting continues while Gareth has left. It's also known that Gareth's hometown of Garrett has been destroyed by business servants just like Nemo, whose hometown was destroyed by business while he was away. Claire approaches Gareth and offers her help to investigate the business further. Initially, Gareth refuses because he cannot repay the information to the client as a chemical lab member, but the only payment the player wants is to dance with Gareth at the festival peak. So Gareth agrees to it here, even though he says he's a bad person. The festival day has arrived, filled with various food stands and other performances. Here, the Seven Night members set up a cafe that is very popular with many people. Jodie's complains a little because she can't organize a martial arts tournament. The cafe becomes very busy, and Feria is forbidden to go to the kitchen to avoid making too many croquettes. Besides, Nemo here is faced with two choices because Feria also invites Nemo to dance tonight, but Nemo has also been invited by Shirley. Confused and unable to answer, Nemo avoids it because Gildan asked for help to deliver orders to Soviet. Nemo here complains a little about his love problems to Shopia Sensei, and Shopia Sensei gives a little enlightenment that love can take many forms and usually people can love everyone equally but with different priorities. Sometimes you also have to make decisions based on the priorities that the person desires more. Upon arriving at the cafe, it turns out that the cafe is already closed because they are tidying up, and they are also curious about who Nemo will choose to dance with. On the other hand, Claire, who is looking for something to give to Gareth Senpai as the information he wants, accidentally finds the underground room in the ruins of the old library. This is because Kellerang wants to dance with Gareth Senpai and help him. Here, Nemo meets Shirley and says that actually Silet didn't want to be sinful with Nemo, but Shirley wanted to dance with Ellen Waterpark because she's a cool chick, and it was revealed that Nemo actually liked Ellen. But because she's a vampire, she can't live with Ellen, and when the time comes, here, Silet asserts that she won't dance with anyone. However, Nemo remembers the words of Shopia Sensei that every person can express love in different ways, and according to Shirley Ellen, she is a cunning person indeed. Although she always smiles and goes with the flow, thanks to Nemo's lecture, Silly can finally decide the next step. Nemo's hero smiled after seeing this decision, and then it was time to dance. Shirley here invited Ellen, and Chairman Feria was invited by Nemo to dance on the other side. Meanwhile, the players found a secret room with a book that seemed to seal something, but when something was about to happen to Claire, the scene was skipped, and here Claire instead came in front of Gareth to dance. They danced, but Claire got angry and turned into crystal because of the book she touched in the old library. Since Claire died here, everyone joined in mourning her death, which was called the source of her death originated from the old library. The students became suspicious if the curse of the old library was true. Gareth was just standing near the tree during the funeral ceremony. The students gossiped a little about Gareth's behavior for not attending the funeral, but the gossip was stopped by Shirley. Then Nemo approached Gareth's senpai next to the tree, and Gareth said it was all his fault. He would take responsibility, at least to find out who or what curse had befallen Claire. After that, Feria was called by the elders, and they provided information about Mount Birgit volcano, which has been confirmed that there is an underground room where monster attacks this year have always targeted the hourglass. So they assumed that a lot of magical energy was accumulated there from the pieces. Besides, Feria felt familiar with the place because her hero, Unimia, had fought evil pieces there. The elders couldn't let this dangerous thing continue. In addition, the current protection of Goddess Sira couldn't always withstand the rampage of the pieces, and there have been many cases where intruders worshipped the business and roamed on the other side. The elders also couldn't do anything because only the 7 knights could defeat them. It's also known that the physical leader named Ami's Garmin is in the underground headquarters. With this much information, even though Feria was a bit hesitant because she didn't know the enemy's strength, she still accepted the mission given because if this were allowed to continue, the name of the Seven Knights could also be tarnished. OSIS Chairman Feria felt she had to make a lot of preparations because if this was a trap, it could have fatal consequences. On the other hand, the other members wouldn't allow Feria to fight alone. After that, the other members except Gareth gathered and launched their new mission from the guild to hunt the Pisces in Mount Birgit volcano. Maria here was surprised by the arrival of her hero, Eunomia, who said that after all this was over, Feria had to reveal the truth from the old library. On the other side, here at Clear's grave, Sensei's substitute also came and was visited by Sensei himself. He said that Nemo was a good person and he believed that Nemo could bring happiness to everyone by protecting them and eradicating businesses together with the power of the hero Nemo had. Gareth, it turns out, is at the library to find information about the old librarian, named Genius, who was actually an agent. He was hunted and killed by the Eunomia Clouds, who are now heroes of Feria. But when he killed Genius, he also fell due to the curse caused by Genius. With this information, Gareth sees hope regarding the curse that killed Clear. He confides in Nemo that he actually doesn't know why he has to train since childhood, whether it's his own will or just following his father's orders to save many people. Nemo, upon hearing this, said that Feria still managed to save him from death, so he shouldn't worry about it. Currently, the Knight Academy students led by the 7 Knight member are in front of Mount Birgit's volcano. They attack the place on a large scale, involving many people. Feria asks the members and everyone to return safely. Feria also reacts with Nemo, Shirley, and Ellen. Then Feria hands over the interior to Ellen so that Freya is attacked from behind by the enemy. Everyone here is surprised because there are many tubes containing homunculus creatures in this underground room, and it turns out there is one damaged tube, so they are attacked by someone. They are also able to use successors of heroes, which should not be possible. They manage to separate Nemo and the others who are facing Feria, named Rida, who has Irene's power, and Nemo is facing Castris, who has the power of the hero Delons, a destroyer knight, and Shirley is facing Volux, who has the power of the hero Mercure, a black magician. Outside, they try to defeat many Pisces. Here, Nemo instead engages in a queue and a battle with Castris, asking if the lives of Preda and Volux are worth it for him. Of course, the question is answered coldly that they are not more valuable than his life. Here, Nemo creates an opening from the enemy to help Feria. When Nemo and Feria manage to attack the enemy here, a rough one keeps coming and chasing Nemo. Then he faces him again. It turns out that Castris not only wants to fight Nemo, but he also intends to kill Rida, the leader of the enemy named Ami's German. Here, he prays to the evil god to give him strength. The enemy here becomes stronger because they have turned into a possession. On the other hand, Gareth enters a secret room that was visited by the player and finds a crystal containing Pisces there. Nemo and the others are surprised because they have entered a position but have not lost control of their powers. They become overwhelmed because they consider the power of the heroes to be tools for them. 7 knights here in the corner are underestimated by the students who fight alongside Gildan and also face difficulties because the enemies are getting stronger. Gareth also fights against the PCs in his school area. It turns out that the sandglass that has been destroyed by the PCs can also strengthen the enemy's power, but because they cannot cooperate, Nemo and the others, who initially struggled, began to find a gap to fight. Rida here just observes the situation, but he is urged by Volume to do something. However, the heroes they restrain actually rebel and don't want to be tools anymore, making it difficult for them to contain the power of their heroes. But because of the doctrine taught by their leaders, stating that heroes are tools, Nemo starts to enlighten again that heroes also need to be listened to in order to become normal. Castris here dies because she is too stubborn due to the evil doctrine from Ami's German. Then Folks flees out of fear. Gareth here fights for justice. Claire, but he is also surprised because the Soviets come to help Gareth. Nemo here will face Rida and instructs Feria and Shirley first because they have to face the Garment Amis first so that their plan doesn't go according to plan. Nemo actually reveals that he is also one of the chosen ones, but he chooses to find his own way, and finally here Rida is angry because he knows that Nemo is a traitor. Nemo here fights while explaining that the principles taught by the Amis message are wrong. Rida was also momentarily doubtful because of Nemo's words, but he still thought that if he admitted Nemo's words, then all his pain and past would be in vain. When he fell, he rose again because of the power of his heroes, namely Irene. Here, Irene speaks to Rida that Rida still has the spirit to live, but here Rida is still curious about the reason his lord created him for what purpose. Nemo here invites Rida to find out the truth. On the other side, Folks comes to his lord's house for protection, but what he expects is the opposite, because his lord asks if the Volume is useless and creatures like him can be easily made. This, of course, makes Volume upset and he is attacked by his lord himself. Feria and Shirley come to stop Ami's Germaid, and the Amis here actually plan to summon the Child of Destruction by giving many sacrifices. Gareth, who has read the book in the basement, is surprised to find out the truth about Nemo's identity, which makes him very angry. Amis was originally a person from the Empire, but he said that he had seen the truth of the world and the world now needs to be reset by eradicating all the people. The 7 knights must also be destroyed for the smoothness of their mission. But the attacks given by Feria and Shirley cannot hurt Amis German, who supposedly has an immortal body and can regenerate because Amis has the power to manipulate time. We are given a little flashback from Ellen, who actually feels lonely because she can see the future thanks to the power of her heroes until she can see someone's death like a script that has been written in a book. The meeting between Feria and Ellen was already known by Ellen. She even knew that Feria would play an important role in the future of this world. Ellen also learned about the end of this world with her abilities. Eventually, she couldn't see into the future anymore. However, after befriending Feria and the other members of the 7 knights here, Ellen has prepared for all the risks and the impending end of the world by making decisions and using her hero's powers to go with the flow as usual. The battle continues both outside and inside Nemo. Joe and Kill also come to help Feria and the others, bringing a sense of calm. Here, curiosity arises about the command given by Ellen that all hourglasses be placed at a ritual site without giving a reason. But she makes Joe even more curious about why they were not informed in detail about this plan. Feeling betrayed by her master, who only sees her and her colleagues as mere pawns for the rise of the Child of Destruction, who turns out to be Nemo, Rida, who is emotional for being used as a tool, attacks directly after Germany. But he is defeated because the time regeneration used by Germain can always revert him to his original state. Gareth is told by Shopia Sensei that the curse is real and the Soviet is also affected by it. Demoya, who is the successor of his hero, has also received a terrible curse as the Child of Destruction. Gareth asks for Shopia Sensei to tell the truth, even though Gareth has to suffer to respect the death of Clear, Nemo, and the others who have been defeated. Nemo suffers because he is forced to change with the power of Germain's time, but Ellen comes here with her hero's power that can stop time. This can be done because her preparations are also complete. Besides, Ellen can be said to be the natural enemy of Germain, who can control time with sand, so any attack they launch won't affect Ellen. With this, Ellen manages to save Nemo from the force change done by Germain. Nemo and Feria here are preparing to attack Germain again, who now cannot regenerate because his power has been destroyed by Ellen, who must be paid with all of Ellen's strength until she faints. The battle becomes very intense when Germain, without his time control, is still very strong. Nemo, who is almost hit by Germain's attack, is saved by Rida, who is now conscious. Germain here is defeated with the ultimate power from Nemo's Kamehameha. Nemo is warned by Rida that as the Child of Destruction, he has no way back because the temple will collapse. They flee from the temple, but something happens in the old library where there is a strange phenomenon from the book previously found by Clear. Nevertheless, the students are very happy because this is their victory against the leader of PCS and defeating the Pisces. They return to the academy, but Germain still has some power left from the silver hourglass so he can revert to his original form. But he is also hit by a crystal curse, which is actually part of the plan by Shopia Sensei, who is actually the leader of PC, to destroy the world and restart it from scratch because the power of LS has been used, so the Soviets' plan is thwarted. However, upon returning to the academy, Nemo was detained by the students led by Gareth, who had found the answer to the death of the gland. This is all because Nemo is a creature created by Germain who made a contract with the genius hero. He is the one who surrendered his soul to PCS and caused the curse of his powers. The members of Seven held a meeting regarding Nemo's issue, where Sensei Shopia and the council members had investigated that Nemo is an artificial creature, just like the three faced at the German Army's headquarters yesterday, such as Radavolox and Castris Gildan. Here they didn't believe, but Gareth explained that the power of the genius hero had been sealed by the hero Eunomia, but Genius could still release the seal. Besides, all the recent strange occurrences at the academy always involved Nemo. Nemo also has a very strong and unusual power, but it seems Gareth doesn't want to just confine Nemo, he also wants to know the truth. Nemo is a non-physical being created and born at the German Army's headquarters, which was destroyed in the previous experiment. Germain's experiments were extremely irrational and inhumane, and at that time Nemo managed to escape because he heard from the heroes Ellen and Shirley. Here, indeed, Nemo is doubtful, but Ellen is a person who always goes with the flow, so she doesn't really mind it. Gildan and Joe here discuss Nemo's problem, suspected to be Joe's business. Joe warns Gildan that the business is evil and has killed many people, despite being good friends. But Joe feels that Nemo has been lying to them all along. Feria here talks to his hero about what really happened in the past with the genius hero within Nemo. It is also known that Eunomia was cursed as well, and if Feria investigates further, Feria could be cursed too. But because Feria doesn't want Nemo executed, he is determined to keep searching for the truth and help him. Gildan and Shirley will also seek justice and truth. They were interrupted during training by Sensei Shopia, and after discussing the issue here, Jody Saucer by Shopia's sensei, a transgender, returned to his hometown, Nemo, where he was born and is now in ruins. He was surprised when he was attacked by a misunderstanding by Rida, who thought he was going to be killed by Seven Knight. A fierce fight ensued, and after Rida was defeated, he managed to rise again. When Nemo was about to be executed for not admitting or saying anything about his truth, Gildan and Shirley came, providing an imperial order to suspend this execution. However, Shopia said that the order came too late, so Nemo's execution would proceed as planned. Support from Joe and Gareth made this execution inevitable, but Feria came and revealed the truth about Nemo's past, where the original Nemo had been killed and Pisces took over his memories and form. However, Maria here still protected Nemo, who seemed to have given up on his life. The men here fought with Joe and Gareth, who sided with the execution of Nemo. Then Feria here managed to escape with his flying ship, aided by Rida. Nemo only found out here that Shopia Sensei was the mastermind behind all this, deliberately baiting Nemo to use his genius power to loosen the seal of the old library. However, a very powerful force emerged that could threaten the world's destruction. Both Joe and Gareth here felt that the cause of all this was Nemo's fault for failing to be executed, but what actually happened was the enemy in disguise, Shopia, was the mastermind. Even Gareth here approached Shopia to ask for help in gaining power to confront Nemo. Feria here was also cursed for knowing the truth, but Feria felt that with Nemo, she felt liberated from the mission to protect the world. Nemo also had the same feeling as Feria about this thought. Feria invited Nemo to return to the guarantee to avoid the bad things that had happened. Elaine here used her power again because the future she saw was approaching the final limit. When they reached the academy, they were blocked by Green and others. Rida here held Joe and the others to allow those who wanted to go to the old library. Rida here revealed the truth about the Soviet, but only a few believed that it happened, and he ended up being in a bad position because of Shopia's power. Gildan here instructed Shirley and Rida to go to Nemo and let him face Joe, who was loose. This time he would save his friend from the differences. In Unimea, he explained that this was all a legacy seal used by Genius, and from here, they could finally tell the truth where Genius tried to seal physical power with his soul, which became the binder of that seal. But because there was Shopia who saw the incident, until now only the three of them knew the existence of the cursed seal, sacrificing Genius. But the reason why Soviet could still live for hundreds of years was when he always transferred bodies from each generation because his original body had been killed by Genius. But Feria was curious why he still wanted to kill Nemo, and the reason was because only Nemo could renew or open the seal of the Book of Time. When Nemo was about to attack, he was instead attacked by Gareth, who entered his position. The reason why Sophia wanted to destroy the world might be because she liked Genius, but Genius liked Unimea. The Time Book seal weakened because Nemo was dying. At this time, Gareth also began to realize that, like him, she was the mastermind, until she was stabbed from behind. But here the power of Ellen changed everything because she managed to restore time, surprised that Ellen could still use her power. The original Nemo here met Nemo who took his life. He felt desperate, but the original Nemo here gave him words of motivation and advice to stay alive. Finally, Nemo here could rise again and prepare to use his full power to protect everyone alive. But the price Ellen had to pay for resurrecting Nemo was very high. It seems she turned into a giant monster here, intending to destroy the world. Judy's was saved by Gildan, but they remembered because there was a giant in the hands controlled by Soppet, who was now releasing many monsters. Many students here became victims of these business attacks, but Feria and the others began to arrive to help. Genius here said there was a way to seal it. On the other hand, Ellen here drank blood from Shirley to become a vampire to continue living because she was obstructed by a barrier from Shopia. Here, Feria was about to sacrifice herself, but she was stopped by the line that currently holds the power of darkness to be able to pave the way for Nemo because only he is the only one who can seal back the power of darkness that can engulf the world. Here Nemo and Feria head towards the place where Shopi is. Nemo only knew that the beginning of Supet's ambition was because he felt that his love was not appreciated by the genius ideology of Sophie's idea could not be rejected because it would only result in deeper destruction and suffering. Therefore, everyone here fights for a very bright future. The fight here becomes even more intense, and Nemo, along with Feria, is starting to be a little cornered until finally Feria and Nemo here combine their strengths to be able to guard Sophia's power with a legislative breaker attack. Sophia here was successfully defeated, but she could still stand and could use her darkness power again while Nemo and the others were exhausted. But now Nemo has changed form to gain power to face Supet. It is also known that the original Nemo here saved the current Nemo to live, but here Nemo was also attacked by Shopia, feeling desperate because Genius would once again be distant and even disappear then with Nemo's desire final. He succeeded in sealing back the power of darkness and saving humanity from the darkness of destruction. After the battle, Rena here has also become a student of the Shirley Guarantee Academy, and Ellen here are still affectionate. It's a shame because there's a lesbian element, but yeah, the story is still quite good. It is also known that all members of the 7 who survived here successfully and found someone who seems to like them, Nemo and Feria here decided to adventure to get rid of the power of destruction currently sealed by the Book of Time. In addition, the reason Feria wants to go along with Nemo is to always be with him and protect each other, and the movie ends.